Hello, everyone. This is Akshay Toshniwal, Associate Editor at the AI Time Journal. Today, I would like to welcome Priya Sengar, and it's an absolute pleasure to welcome you in the AI Time series podcast series today. And so, just to give a brief introduction of Priya Sengar, I'm sure I'll be allowing her to speak more about herself, but just to give a brief introduction. So Priya Sengar is a data scientist at Old Dominion University, and she's been working since 2015. It's been around, I guess, 7 to 8 years of working experience in the field of data analytics and data science and AI and all these core technological areas. And she's done her bachelor's, I believe, from University of Mumbai, and her master's as well from Boston. So with that note, I would like to welcome her, and I would like Priya to take over and please give your brief introduction to all of us.
Thank you so much, Akshay. Hello, everyone. This is Priya, and kickstarting my journey. So, I have done my bachelor's in electronics and telecommunications engineering from Mumbai University. And after that, I got the opportunity to work in Tata Consultancy Services. So, for the first 1 year, I worked as a business analyst, wherein I was involved more on like dealing with stakeholders, like preparing different type of documents for like agile methodologies, etc. So I was more on the management side. Then afterwards I got the opportunity to work as a data analyst for the next 2 years. When I was working as a data analyst, therein it gave me a kick to like further enhance my career in data science, because while working as a data analyst, I got the opportunity to work on SQL, and I got the opportunity to work on Tableau and a little bit of like ML also.
Okay.
So wherein I really got the understanding of how data plays a humongous like role in understanding the business and like solving the business problems.
Mhm.
So in 2018, I came here in United States to pursue my master's in analytics from Northeastern University.
Okay.
So it was a 2 years journey, but like it was very challenging. I got to learn a lot. I made a lot of friends out there. And the curriculum of Northeastern University for analytics is really good. Wherein I got the opportunity to learn different type of courses, being it from like core programming courses in R, Python, SQL, to machine learning curriculum, wherein like they teach you about different type of machine learning algorithms, about different databases. And then afterwards I started my job hunt here in United States, and I got the job in Old Dominion University as a data scientist in 2020. After that onwards till now, I'm like working as a data scientist.
That's wonderful. That's quite an interesting journey. You've traveled places, it seems. That's really wonderful. And that leads to gaining a lot of experience actually, because you meet new people and you understand that how they are working, and accordingly, you try to, grab that particular knowledge. So,
Exactly.
as you said that you started working right after your graduation, I guess in the year 2015, as you mentioned, and you started off with Tata Consultancy Service, that is TCS, as a business analyst. And as far as I know, during the years of 2015 and 16, these kind of analytical roles like business analyst, data analyst were not very famous. There was not a lot of hype going in and around the market regarding these roles. So, how was that role? Can you talk a little bit about that?
Sure, definitely. So as a business analyst, I was like mainly involved like on the core management part. So like every day, so our work frame was into agile methodology.
Okay.
So every day we had like different type of like meetings. So my main part like as a business analyst for 1 year was like mostly making like different type of documents, like like kind of first document was mainly based on like requirement gathering, so understanding the requirements from the clients, like
Okay.
what do they really want in the requirement, then like making an entire document out of it.
Mm-hmm.
And like after that, like then like discussing it with the fellow team members who are like respectively involved in that project. Then afterwards again, like revising the document with the client, and then like finally like releasing it, like okay, this is like the final document with a final set of requirements, and we have to complete like these many requirements in like
Mm-hmm.
this particular sprint.
Correct.
So that's how it like used to go then.
Okay.
So this was like my main like job role as
Okay.
a like business analyst, so being a bridge between the like team members and the client.
Okay. Okay. Got
Yes,
that. So it was, I believe, more on the project management side, and
exactly.
more on the managerial level, where you actually keep a track of all the tasks that are being done in a timely manner, so that the deadlines are met and things like that, right?
Yes, yes, exactly.
Great, wonderful. So, from that kind of role, you're jumping into data science, which is more on the coding part. So, did you have, any sort of prior coding experience or anything?
To be very honest, I did not have
Oh, is
any
it?
coding experience. Yes,
Okay.
because my bachelor's was in electronics and telecom, wherein like
Right.
there was no coding involved.
Correct.
But I am really thankful for my manager for it,
Mm-hmm.
because like in every company, there is like one-on-one discussion of like the
Correct.
manager with the
Mm-hmm.
team
Mm-hmm.
member. So
Mm-hmm.
like during one of the discussions, like my manager like came up like that there, hey, there's going to be this role in the future, what do you think about it, do you want to like
Okay.
give it a try? And like she's like was very supportive, and I'm like, why not, I
Mm-hmm.
should definitely like give it a try. So
Right.
I knew that like in this role, primarily I have to work a lot on like SQL for the data extraction part, management part,
Mm-hmm.
and then like Tableau for the data visualization part.
Correct.
So
Okay.
what I used to do is like during weekends and like during the early office hours, I like used to learn SQL,
Okay.
um and like update my knowledge, and like
Mm-hmm.
ask some of my fellow team members to like who were like working on that part to like help
Mm-hmm.
me out. And this is like how I kick-started my journey. Initially I did make some mistakes, but then like I improved them, and then like
Right.
gradually like the journey became like very smooth.
Okay.
So that's how it was. And
Okay.
then like at the second year, in the second half, I also got the opportunity to do a POC on like machine learning.
Oh,
So
wonderful.
wherein like the client had just asked me to make a POC like model on like time series to like
Okay.
forecast something.
Okay. Okay.
So that was like how it went.
Oh, that's great. So your journey has transformed from, so first it has transformed from electronics to computer science background, and then, from a non-code, being a no coder, being a non-coder, to an actual full-fledged coder who's actually currently
Yeah.
working as a data scientist. That's quite inspiring, because
Yeah.
today the market of data science and AI ML is, at such a rise that even people from mechanical and civil department, like completely non-technical, right, even they want
Yeah.
to jump into this. So I'm sure, after listening to you, they would surely be inspired, and switching over their careers and maybe in the field of data science and the analytics domain. So as you mentioned that your manager inspired you and pushed you to grab those opportunities which involved coding related stuff, and you also built some POC related to machine learning. So and you also mentioned that you spend some time on weekends, and that's how you went on to code. So if you can highlight a little more about your transformation from being a non-coder to an actual full-fledged coder, how it was, like what kind of resources you used to, use, and what kind of maybe blogs or articles, videos you used to watch, and how that the journey was.
Yeah, sure. To begin with SQL, so like first, like my approach of like learning a new programming language or any tool is that to start very simple, like
Mhm.
not to jump on the advanced part of it, but to start very
Right.
simple. So for SQL, my main resource, which is very common and which is very famous
Okay.
amongst like everyone, is W3 schools.
Oh,
So
right.
I started from there, like
Okay.
which it is a very good website which covers all the basics. So I
Yeah.
first made sure that my basics are right, like
Right.
I understand like the nitty gritty details of
Mhm.
SQL. Once I had that confidence that my basics are right,
Mhm.
then I went on to like understanding like intermediate SQL and advanced SQL. So for which like I had done a course on Udemy.
Okay.
Unfortunately, I don't remember the name of the course right now, but like
Okay.
Udemy has like really great courses for SQL.
Mhm.
So that's how like I gained the knowledge for intermediate SQL and advanced SQL. Then also parallelly, I had started my like a course on Tableau. So
Okay.
the entire Tableau course I had done again from Udemy.
Okay.
It like what I used to do is that like I not just simply like watching the video. Suppose if the instructor is explaining anything, then
Mhm.
simultaneously also executing it. So you should always do that, like if someone is explaining you something, or if you like happen to see a code online, you should go and like execute it yourself. And
Mhm.
then I also used to try some like different combinations from my own.
Right. That's
So
important.
that like yeah, so such type of variations like really helps you a lot, and like it improves your productivity and you get to learn. So that's like how I did it, like watching the video and simultaneously practicing it. And yes, like
Great.
consistency is very important, like you can't just like do it in 1 hour or 2 hour,
Right.
like you need to at least give like 4 hours. So how I used to do is like 2.5 hours for SQL or 2 hours for Tableau.
Okay. Okay.
That's how like like my formula was. Yeah.
Got it. Great. I mean, that's an interesting, formula and a kind of a roadmap that you followed. So if I were to summarize it, first is understand the basics, start from really from the scratch, so that only then you'll be able to cover the advanced level topics.
Yeah.
Second, if you're reading something, if you're watching some videos, if you're doing some course, please do execute it, implement it. The more you implement and execute it, the better your coding
Exactly.
knowledge would be. And
Exactly.
nevertheless, just be consistent, practice it more and more, so that if you want to be better, obviously you need to practice a lot. So
Yeah.
that's a very interesting piece of advice. I'm sure it will help a lot.
Yeah, and I would also like to add one more point
Sure,
that
please.
like so when especially like for the for websites such as like Udemy or
Mm-hmm.
Udacity, like what they do is like at the end of their course they give a final project also to do.
Ah, correct.
So I would also like recommend everyone to do that project, because it's like very helpful.
Mm-hmm.
It's really good, like you can do that project, you can add it to your resume, no matter how simple it is, but project is a project. And like whenever
Absolutely.
you go for an interview, like
Yeah.
people ask about your project, so then you can confidently say like this is how like my roadmap and my approach was for that project. So yeah,
Correct, correct.
should do
Yeah,
that
that's a
also.
very interesting and an important point actually, because many people want to enter the space, but and even if they're a fresher, if even if they're
Yes,
just beginning their
exactly.
career, these small projects actually have a good impact. Well,
Yeah.
and it actually stands apart in their profile, in their resume, if they mention it and if they do it on their own. So definitely that helps.
Yes,
True.
it does.
Great. So, moving forward, I'm sure, you being in the industry, in the market for more than 7+ years, you know that how the market is functioning, how this data science, AI, ML is actually entering multiple industry verticals and
Hmm.
multiple, business domains. So, any thoughts, wherein specifically, if I were to talk about the education sector, the education vertical, so what do you think that how we can have a convergence between data science and education? Like what kind of future do you foresee? Maybe in I would like to ask that way.
So a very like a good and a like live example which I would like to tell you is that the kind of work which I'm currently doing at my university where I'm working.
Mm-hmm.
So like I'm currently like working on a project wherein we have to like predict what could be a student's grade.
Mm-hmm.
So like because so in by doing that project the students like can be benefited a lot, like ahead of time we
Mm-hmm.
can highlight the students like who are like very like have a very high probability of failing the course. So like on those cluster of students, like the respective instructors or the mentors like can pay specific attention.
Mm-hmm.
And by using data science, like we not only come to know like about the cluster of the students, but
Mm-hmm.
we also come to know like what are the potential factors which may lead them to like fail the course. So basically we can tell that instructor or mentor, hey, like for this student, like these are the potential factors, so maybe
Mm-hmm.
like you can work with that student on these factors. So this is like one example.
Okay.
And second one which I feel is like in like other fellow universities of United States, there has been a lot of work which is done on retention,
Mm-hmm.
like to see if like a student, if they have enrolled in like a freshman student, if they have enrolled in a fall term, so
Mm-hmm.
if whether they are going to retain in the university for the next fall term or not. So basically seeing the retention of fall to fall, or
Okay.
fall to spring.
Mm-hmm.
And apart from that, like visualization also like plays a very very important role in understanding about the students performance, like so making dynamic dashboards
Right.
wherein like we get to know about the students, like details, like
Mm-hmm.
how are they performing in the class, like the demographic details of the students,
Mm-hmm.
etc.
Okay. Okay. Great.
Yeah.
They, these are some really interesting points. And as you mentioned, that definitely it would help a lot, keeping in mind the industry wherein they would understand that what kind of students are coming in, what is their retention, and how are they performing, and obviously different types of KPIs and insights we would be able to generate. But if
Yeah.
we talk from the end user's perspective, maybe let's talk from the student perspective or from the user perspective. How do you think that they would be benefited if data science and education gets combined together?
So like they can be like benefited a lot. For example, like if we like take the example of this course grade prediction, so
Mm-hmm.
there are like students who like, I mean, really like due to some like factors, they are not like able to perform well.
Mm-hmm.
So by coming up with those like factors like well ahead of time, maybe like so the particular instructor or the mentor can help the like students in like figuring out a good path. So like instead of getting like a D grade or a like a failing grade, like they can pass that particular course. So
Mm-hmm.
like if there is a factor like that the student like he or she is like they are not receiving some, they do not have sufficient financial aid. So
Mm-hmm.
maybe like the university can grant them like some financial aid or some like student loan.
Okay.
So
Right.
in that way, like, the student can be like, benefited. Like, then if we go on the retention side,
Mm-hmm.
so like there, so students, like, they like leave a university because of many reasons. One can be like, their personal reason, or maybe they find a better university. That's why, like, they leave their current university.
Right.
If
Mm-hmm.
it's this second, like, reason that, because of the university, like, the student is leaving, so maybe,
Mm-hmm.
like, the university can, like, then work on, like, improving on, like, those points, and like, retaining the students. Like, that means, like, providing the students, like, more good service.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. Right. Absolutely. So basically, the universities get an advantage of understanding how the users and students are, obviously by analyzing their performance, by analyzing their behavior, and multiple other KPIs. And on the other hand, the users get a benefit that, okay, they can get scholarships and they can understand that which universities are better for them based on their, liking, based on what kind of course they do want to pursue, and things like that. So it's a win-win situation basically for the universities as well as the students, right?
Exactly. Yes. Yes.
Great, awesome. So now maybe coming to your professional experience. uh, Again, you have an immense amount of experience working in the industry. So maybe if you could highlight some of your projects that you worked upon, and which are your favorite ones, where possibly you have used some sort of analytics, data science, AI, and ML. So maybe all of us can get some idea on how these kind of industry projects are, and what kind of work is involved in it. So if you can talk a little bit about the projects that you've worked on.
Sure. So definitely. So the project which I am, like, currently working on is, like, the course grade prediction project, which is my, like, very favorite.
Okay.
A favorite because, like, in this project, I like I can say, I don't want to boast about myself, but like, saying that I am the only data scientist in my team.
Oh, wonderful.
And yeah, and I've got the, like, opportunity to build that entire framework.
Oh, great,
So
great.
yes,
So
yes,
you
yes.
have you have that monopoly, so that you can do things your way, basically.
Yes, yes, yes. So, so for that, I would like to thank my manager for it, because he gave me that opportunity.
Right.
And like, then once I was given the opportunity, then I, like, slowly, I started writing the script for that.
Mm-hmm.
It was like, again, that journey was, like, not very smooth. Like, there were some pitfalls, but then, like, like, enjoyed it a lot. I learned from my mistakes, and like, further, um like, improve my code. So one thing I wanted to highlight is that, like, initially the code was, like, really very static, but then,
Mm-hmm.
like, as the time progressed, like, and according to the, like, requirements of my manager and the higher management, like,
Mm-hmm.
I made sure that, like, it's, like, very dynamic. It's, like, very,
Right.
like, flexible, so that
Right.
it's not only, like, adaptable for one course,
Mm-hmm.
but then it can be, like, adaptable for n number of courses which are there
Right.
in the
So you
university.
tried making it generic, basically.
Yes, I tried making it generic, and this is, like, why, and I like this project the most, and it's my most favorite, because, like, I have done the entire work
Got
myself.
it. Right.
So, and for that, like, I have used Python, and again, like, it's the traditional, like, data science flow which you can, find on websites like Medium, Machine Learning Mastery, etc.
Mm-hmm.
First goes the data cleaning phase, then, sorry,
Right.
first goes the data collection phase, then goes the
Yeah.
data cleaning phase, and then, like, then it's, like, the final, training your model, selecting the best model.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's why I like this project a lot.
Great. Awesome. Good to know that. Great. And so I'm sure this is one of the projects that you work, but you've worked on multiple projects. And obviously, some projects could be related to core machine learning, while some could be related to natural language processing, which is NLP as well. So if I would ask you your top three expertise that you would think that you're the most, you're pretty confident about those areas. So what could those three expertise be? And maybe if you can, also just answer that, why those three areas specifically?
Sure, definitely. So my first area of like expertise would be like SQL. SQL because like initially like when I was a BA, I
Got
did
it.
not know anything about it, but
Right.
then when I started working as a data analyst, I can
Mhm.
confidently say that like I had at least like reached to a basic level and a little more above the basic level.
Mhm.
But then when I came to masters again, like I started like improving it again, I started practicing it. And here when I came to work as a data scientist, then like
Mhm.
I advanced like to an intermediate level.
Okay.
So and so like I'm pretty confident right now that like I can write a query
Mhm.
no matter like what the requirement is. So I'm
I
like
get it.
that confident right now. So SQL
Mhm.
first. Second one is Python.
Okay.
And the third one would be machine learning. In machine learning, I would like to
Great.
highlight supervised learning. So
Okay.
all the
Okay.
algorithms which come under supervised learning
Mhm.
are my areas of expertise. Yeah.
Oh, great, wonderful. So SQL, Python, and machine learning,
Yes.
specifically the supervised part where you do the
Yeah.
prediction and classification primarily. And
Exactly.
also, I believe you worked on time series forecasting as well, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Great, awesome. So it's been an absolute, great journey, it seems, in the field of data science, analytics, and machine learning. But if I were to ask you a very different question, maybe, just to understand what other passions do you have? So, my question is that if it was not data science, okay, so if you didn't want to pursue data science, or if it was not data science, what career option would you opted for?
Yeah. If not data science, then I would have definitely become a choreographer.
Oh, wonderful. Great. So it seems when you say choreographer, it seems you like dancing and stuff, right?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Oh, great.
Yes. So
So you do it
definitely,
now as well, or you're now fully focused to data science?
well, it's like on weekdays, it's data science, and then on weekends, it's my passion.
Wow, that's great. Wonderful. Great. Good to know that. That's really interesting. And I believe every data scientist or every professional should have that one creative
Yes,
and unique element of passion as well, that
exactly.
one
Yeah.
person follows that maybe whenever he or she gets time. So that's really good to know.
It keeps you
Great.
going on.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's true. Great. And my last question to you would be that what would be your top three pieces of advice that you would like to give to beginners, and specifically to those people who are starting their journey from a very non-technical background, as obviously you did, like you became a coder from a non-coding background and experience. So for people who do not have that coding experience and they are coming from a non-technical background, any three top pieces of advice that you would like to give that they need to pay attention to?
Sure, definitely. My first piece of advice is that listen to everyone, but do what you want to.
Super.
Because,
Okay, great.
yeah, it's because you know yourself the best, and you should definitely like hear people out, but
Mhm.
then it's ultimately you who have to decide your own journey. And
Right.
once you know about your like goal, then automatically you can come up with a plan. Second one is that like not to go initially on the very like advanced part of like learning any
Mhm.
programming language or
Mhm.
learning any tool. First you should start it very simple, like be it Python, be it SQL, be it Tableau, or be it anything, like start
Mhm.
it very very simple. So once you're good with your basics, then only like automatically your brain can be switched to the intermediate part and then
Okay.
to the advanced part. And third one is like you should be very consistent and you have to be very dedicated. So for the third one, I have to say that in terms of machine learning lingo, you have to really train your mind, to
Right.
be consistent, to be dedicated. It's not simple, but it's also not hard.
Right,
Yeah,
got it.
that's it.
So I guess so before you learn machine learning and before you train a model, you need to train your mind so that you be consistent and you keep on
Exactly.
practicing, and you obviously
Exactly.
start from the basics, and you
Yeah.
always yeah,
Yeah.
please go ahead.
By the third one I mentioned in that way is like, so for people like, for you who have already done like, CS in their undergrad,
Mm-hmm.
it is a bit easy for them, to like, transition again from a technical to a technical and to a more advanced technical role. But
Correct.
for people like, who come from a non-CS background, like,
Mm-hmm.
for them it's like, little bit hard, to,
Right.
suddenly, jump into that den of technical domain.
Correct. Correct.
So at that time you really like, need to push yourself a bit hard for it, but then eventually like, you can do it.
Absolutely. So once you do it, then the rewards are amazing. So
Yes,
the
exactly.
initial steps and the initial process is a bit tough, and you got to push yourself. You need to be consistent and keep on practicing multiple things. But once you're through with it, then I think a little bit smoothness is there in the life when you're
Exactly.
dealing with all these technologies.
Yeah,
Great,
yes,
that's
yes.
awesome. So, really, thank you so much, Priya, for joining us at AI Time Journal podcast series. It was really wonderful hosting you, knowing about your journey and understanding, that how you went from a no coding background to an actual coding background, and obviously knowing about your passion, which is, choreography as well. So it was really fun talking to you. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much, Akshay, and thank you so much, AI Times, for this opportunity. Thank you.
Sure. Great. Thanks.
Thank you.